Market update. Wait a minute. Is it Bitcoin way up? Bitcoin way up? Alts way down? Or is it Bitcoin up only for the rest of this year? This is the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Or if you need a roadmap in crypto and altcoin picks and comprehensive research, make sure you subscribe to my Patreon, which I think the link is not only going to be in the chat, but is actually right there on the screen. Patreon.com/unhingedcrypto. Okay. Now, what are we going to do today? Well, why are altcoins down? We'll talk about it. Why is Bitcoin up? We'll talk about it. Why did Bitcoin go up to begin with? We'll talk about it. What's Bitcoin going to do for the rest of December? Is it Bitcoin or altcoins for the rest of the year? Which is it? Do you take advantage of the first dip or a dip later? We'll talk about it, as well as a comprehensive view of the news. Wait until you see the media FOMO on crypto after yesterday, which by itself can explain the correction. All right, let's welcome who's here on the stream. I had a little bit of a problem. I know Richard Barry and Bull Runner were here. Crypto Billy is in the house. Big Rich is liking my Patreon. We appreciate your business and everybody's business who's in there. Rugby Performance Lab, Double B is here. Silas, Big Rich, welcome. Okay, Matt, can we look at the Galaxy chart? Oh, yeah, we can look at the Galaxy chart. We'll do some altcoin analysis, but altcoins, what we would normally think of as altcoin overtime, is now in Patreon. Double B is looking at Dog. Willimeter from East Tennessee. Gian is here. Sarah, welcome. All right, let's go. News. Okay, so why did crypto go up? A Bitcoin holiday. Bitcoin, the ultimate Thanksgiving gift. 1K views 13 days ago. Crypto, December pump 6 days ago. 1.3K views. Right. Other things got 1.7, 1.5. The Thanksgiving ultimate gift barely made it to 1K. Nobody thought it was going up. Everyone was waiting for the dip. Everybody was waiting for the dip. Okay, Wall Street silver. The USA collects $5 trillion per year in revenue. Of that, 2.5 trillion is personal income tax. Okay. 8 trillion is government debt is maturing. 8 trillion in government debt is maturing this year. Old debt at lower rates, which is old debt at lower rates. It's going to be refinancing at new higher rates. So this makes the United States population, right, kind of like Americans are bound to the U.S. federal debt. There was ever a case for crypto. It's a case for crypto right now. Now, let's take a brief moment to talk macro. Okay. Chinese borrowers default in record numbers as economic crisis deepens. The good news about this for crypto, particularly for Bitcoin, is one, you're going to have huge buyers out of Hong Kong, which nobody is talking about. In June, everybody was talking about. Now we got nobody talking about it. Okay. Also, things like this prevent central banks from tightening, right, to try to stop inflation, which I still believe at the grocery store is absolutely appalling. The inflation rate at the grocery store is not 3%. Okay. Traders boost U.S. rate cut bets despite pushback from Fed's Jay Powell. Now, what does this mean? Whoops. What does this mean? Okay, so the Fed not tightening is the best thing for Bitcoin. What's even better for crypto is the Fed not tightening with bond market Kool-Aid that the Fed will eventually lower rates. Doesn't get any better than that. Like no hawk, eventual dove. Now, one of the things I just want to remind you, rate cuts are priced in. That may not happen because Jerome may be like, I'm leaving it. Now, if rate cuts do happen, it's a very much be careful what you wish for situation. Because if Powell has to come in with grocery store prices high and cut rates, it's because there's a crisis. Now, a crisis may be good for crypto, but probably wouldn't be, right? So this thing that we got now is Goldilocks for crypto, and you have to take advantage of it while you can, right? Now, for the rest of December, I think that's Bitcoin. We'll go over that in the charts, right? Altcoin price action kind of confirming that this morning. But this is basically doom for the dollar and nirvana from Bitcoin from a Fed and interest rate point of view. Tokenized securities on the blockchain offer lower cost and faster speed. Group I work with is coming out with a water token soon, and real assets, real assets on the blockchain, right, is coming out as a buzzword. Okay. RAB, real assets on the blockchain. Tokenized assets lead to better liquidity. So the commercial real estate debacle that you heard on and on and on about, that really was a kind of a nothing burger, at least this year in terms of being traded, people couldn't get out of illiquid assets. So you could have groups like Wisdom Tree and BlackRock wanting people to hold spot crypto so they can have an account to hold tokenized stocks, right? Because Gen Z is going to go crypto first, then stocks, if at all. And then big institutions are going to need to take an office building and split it up into tokenized securities so that, instead of selling the whole building, they might be able to sell 1/3 of the building using a tokenized version of an asset. So the lack of liquidity in certain things is going to drive this. And the reason you care is because companies are going to open accounts, right? They're going to say, okay, well, hey, come buy Bitcoin in this account because that's a no-brainer. And oh, by the way, here are some tokenized securities. And that's going to actually drive additional institutional demand because every institution will have to have a crypto account. Okay, Nvidia played its way into domination of AI. In other words, Nvidia started as a graphics card chip gaming company and then eventually exploded into AI. Well, what about gaming in crypto? What about it? Like altcoins getting smacked, may get smacked for a week. What about gaming? Is anybody talking about that? I mean, Nvidia built, that's how it launched itself. But is anybody talking about in crypto? No. And the things you want to buy are the things that no one's talking about. And the things that might correct are the things that everyone owns. That's just the nature of year end, right? Like year end beast. Everybody's got to own Bitcoin, right? And everybody may have FOMO. The general public may have FOMO'd into alts. But just remember, gaming, all these themes that everybody blew off, privacy, even to a certain degree, the metaverse as it connects to gaming. Okay, IBM claims quantum computing research milestone. Okay, well, quantum computing is not necessarily good for crypto. Okay, the good news is it's 6 to 10 years away, but it's funny how scientific innovation inside of the legacy world still gets way more press than this cross-chain trading narrative that's happening in crypto. Rune, Flip, all these companies that are mooning, right? BRC20 tokens, I understand, are being listed on centralized exchanges without paying the centralized exchanges. That's how hot centralized exchanges are to get the equivalent of ERC20 or altcoins on Ethereum, how hot they are to get the Bitcoin equivalent. Wouldn't it be funny if Boomer Chain wound up the next altcoin bonanza. Right? Do you know how to trade a BRC20 token? I'm still learning. Okay. How to deal with Europe's zombie banks. 75% of the region's banks are trading below book value. Okay. So, if you took all of that means if you took a European bank that was worth $1,000 and sold $1,000 worth of assets, right now the market is saying those $1,000 in assets are only worth $73. Kind of implying that those assets on the balance sheet that say they're $1,000 and they're not worth that. So bad bank risk management is still around. And what's the point for crypto? Again, what did people say for years in 2021? Long crypto, long Bitcoin, short the banks, long Bitcoin, short the banks. Now, it's happening. It's long Bitcoin, short the banks, and no one's talking about it. No one's talking about this as like a kind of like a permanent problem, right? Like, a firm and companies that offer Gen Z pay as you go. People are opting for that instead of credit cards. They're defaulting on credit cards. Long Bitcoin, short the banks, right? It's a compelling reason. Now, speaking of the bull market, so here's what bull markets do. Everyone looks for a dip and they go, there's no dip, and then it goes up and up and up and up. And then everyone FOMOs in, and then you get a nasty 40% correction. Okay, nasty. This could happen in equities. We'll go over that. It may be happening right now in altcoins where retail FOMO'd in at the top, and then it gets dropped. And then everybody maybe tries to buy the first dip, and you should probably maybe buy the third dip. We'll see. Now, just as a point of information, a U.S. warship gets attacked. 2 points on this. One, rumored wars rarely happen. That comes from George Friedman. And he was right because everybody was kind of hysterically bearish on everything, and World War III was coming. That didn't happen. Didn't happen. But it was enough of a threat to make the Fed stop tightening. Hence, it was like a massive launch point for Bitcoin. And anybody on the macro front who put all that together, well, hats off to you, because they probably made, 50% return in Bitcoin. Okay. That said, you have to watch out for these wacko surprises that create corrections. Because one of the things about 2017 that people forget is that the market went way higher on the way up than you would think. But then there were these 35 to 40% corrections. So it was way higher than you think, and the corrections were way deeper than you think. And this kind of stuff, this is the type of thing that can come out of nowhere and spook people. Okay. U.S. CEOs start to contemplate 2.0, just a major emphasis on social disorder. The United States might not, the United States is going to have social and political problems. Ray Dalio has told you that. I have told you that. It's going to affect the value of the dollar. It's going to push people into crypto harder, which, by the way, if you look at crypto versus the value of AI, like everyone's talking about the value of Bitcoin versus Berkshire Hathaway, okay, maybe that's ha in Warren Buffett's face, or maybe it's just flat out stupid because Bitcoin is now a monetary system and a tech stock at the same time. You should be comparing, Bitcoin to the market cap of the Magnificent Seven, or of gold, or of something on a macro level. But Bitcoin, like ETH, is now money and a tech stock. So comparing it to Berkshire Hathaway, yeah, that's fun on Twitter, but that may not be the right thing. Now, let's get to the bullish hyperbole. Okay, so again, back to my YouTube. Nobody wanted it 2 weeks ago. Nobody wanted it 6 days ago. Now it's crypto executives say the bull run is underway, which could lead to 100K Bitcoin in 2024. Okay, that's true. But when it's on the headline of CNBC, you got to watch out for the big up move, because crypto hedge funds have to own it into the end of the year. And then you have to look out for a slump and a range near the end of the year as people take profits, right? So bullish hyperbole is everywhere, right? El Salvador's Bitcoin investment is back in the black. This will tell you two things. One, Bitcoin's really not up that much. Everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin's up 150%. Yeah. Basically to everybody's average price over the last 3 years, or it just unwound the Celsius FTX debacle, right? That was forced selling on the way down, bear market, winter, and then boom, a rally back up. That unwinds the forced down trade. So you had a liquidation that was forced, arranged, and then you had forced buying, right? Because every crypto hedge fund has to own it in order to have good performance statistics. So where are we in crypto? I don't know, kind of like neutral. Where's Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin at 42K a lot of money? Well, not for this guy. He's like, hey, we're back to my average price. Bitcoin at 42K is not expensive. You need to get this into your head. Even on a red day, yeah, it's high compared to 16K, but 16K was artificial because of forced liquidation. 42K is probably like, Goldilocks, average. Okay. Crypto is having a 2023 moment. Yahoo Finance, Bitcoin up only. Okay. Ark Investment resumes Coinbase offloading and buys more Robinhood. Okay. First, I was making fun of this in a video I did in my Patreon yesterday. I may be reversing this. I mean, I don't agree with getting rid of Coinbase, but I do understand buying Robinhood. We'll look at that chart. Okay. BlackRock receives 100K in seed funding for spot Bitcoin ETF. Boy, that's pretty funny that BlackRock needs seed funding. That's kind of laughable, right? But, again, all these reporters are out scrambling, looking for bullish headlines. Remember DeFi being dead? Oh my God, DeFi rebounds, 50 billion as speculators hunt for yield. Okay, Solana-based protocols, right? Everyone said that, in the next bull run, we weren't going to go back to 10,000% APY. I don't think it's gone that far yet, but it's funny how DeFi was dead. Now DeFi is back. However, I will remind you that if you don't know what the yield is, you are the yield. So it's hysterical. It's dead. Solana comes out. We're not dead. These sentiment swings are unbelievable. And you're going to have to get used to this in the end of the year. It's like, oh my God, it was going up. Wait, why is it down 40%? Oh no, I have to get out. Then it goes back up again. You got to get used to this because you're going to have weird price action, particularly when every single crypto headline is bullish. You may not be bullish enough on Bitcoin, but some of these altcoins are going to start having 30 to 40% swings. Okay, now all the investment banks are geniuses, right? Bitcoin remains on track for 100K. Yeah, okay, that's nice. 2 weeks ago, everyone was looking for the dip. Now it's up and everyone's looking for 100K. Then it goes to 47K and then it corrects. Right. So now everybody's a bullish genius. The SEC is facing another defeat against Kraken. Yeah. Right. Remember way back when I was doing the market update and I was like, this is the SEC's last gasp. They're trying to stop crypto and they can't because Mr. Market and market forces, which are like William Gann said, they're kind of like a force of nature. You can't stop a force of nature, particularly if you're on the verge of a dollar down move that could be epic. So good luck stopping this. If anything, they dug their own grave, and it's another reason to question the current administration, right? It's like they turn it all into 1984 or a Brave New World, which, I would recommend reading before Christmas if you really want to get bulled up on crypto. Just see how close the U.S. or any other government is when we're talking about censorship, UN and World Economic Forum's effort to stop disinformation. Okay, well, here's what I have to say about disinformation and lawsuits. You know what you do? You look at the price of Bitcoin. Like, that's not disinformation, people. That's not here or there. That's a number. That's a price. Okay. These guys, you know, good luck, because Mr. Market is just going to throw it out probably before the judges do. Okay. Fire in the cauldron as Coinbase Marathon surged 300% in 2023. Oh my God, they've discovered crypto equities. As I've pounded and pounded and pounded the table on Microsoft, Galaxy, Bitcoin miners. How the heck are people going to get their hands on all this Bitcoin that they need to have? They're going to start taking over crypto stocks. In other words, sometimes I wonder if somebody's going to try to take over or merge with El Salvador. If El Salvador may wind up creating some sort of monetary union like the euro so that people can start participating in Bitcoin. Don't laugh, right? Everybody blew off the stocks. We'll talk more about that in the PowerPoint. Grayscale, Bitcoin ETF approvals, a matter of when, not if. Okay, that's true, but don't underestimate the SEC to try to drag their feet as long as they can. Now, I think the approval of the Bitcoin ETF is most likely a sell the fact event, because every time you had like the Bitcoin futures contract, the Coinbase ETF, the Bitcoin futures ETF, every time these things formally start trading, crypto goes down. Okay, so, you know, if Gensler dragged his feet, I actually think that could be bullish. But when it's actually on the market trading, it's probably sell the fact. That's consensus right now, which again is preventing people from seeing that Bitcoin at 42 is still cheap. In other words, altcoins may be down because capital may be flooding into Bitcoin, getting ready for 47 or higher quicker than anyone thinks. I have brought up on this show before and reminded you that back in 2017, okay, Bitcoin has gone up and been kind of like a destroyer, and altcoins have gone down as Bitcoin sucks out a lot of capital. Don't be shocked if higher Bitcoin winds up washing out retail that FOMO'd into all the hot new coins. Now, of course, in my Patreon, did I say in my Patreon? We're going to be covering all the levels where you're going to be buying the dips in all the hot altcoins. Altcoin overtime is moving to Patreon. So get over there at $15 a month. That's lunch at Starbucks. Lunch at Starbucks or Patreon? Sugar or mind-expanding research? I'll leave it up to you. Okay? Mysterious whale is accumulating millions of dollars in Bitcoin. Well, I don't think it's probably mysterious. It's probably some giant hedge fund on behalf of some huge player that's got to buy Bitcoin, or it's just kind of trading lore that gets the price going. Who knows? Okay. Again, this was the only bullish headline in Bitcoin for the last 2 weeks. And now you've got everybody bullish, which is why, you know, you get a little bit of a washout. Crypto mining firm Phoenix rises 50% on the first day of trading. Again, crypto equities. Now let's just a brief word. We'll go through the charts. The Magnificent Seven in equities, that's all the big tech stocks, were up for the year. All the indices followed those stocks. But really, most people in stocks lost money. Like the rot underneath the Magnificent Seven was epic. Like basically everything went down all year. Now, there's a short squeeze going on in stocks. We don't care about that. What we do care about is crypto-related equities kind of got caught in this, like the Magnificent Seven leaving everything behind. And crypto equities are underappreciated, under-owned. And if somebody's going, okay, what do we do now? Which includes people in crypto and definitely people in equities. They're coming after these crypto equities. Don't doubt that at some point during the holidays, you know, after mid-December, Bitcoin may go into a range and they may go after those crypto stocks with a vengeance. Don't go anywhere. We're doing the charts and we're keeping it up to date because the guys in my Patreon got all this before you did. Okay. Robinhood says crypto trading surged 75%. I was kind of blowing this off until I saw the Robinhood chart. We will give you that. Okay, Bitcoin, Doge, spike amid panic buying. Okay, King Crypto benefiting from weak dollar. Gee, did we hear anything about hedge fund panic buying and the dollar being down a lot? Mohammed Al Arian from PIMCO is now saying it, which of course makes it news. But my YouTube statistics and pounding the table on this, pounding the table on this, pounding the table on this, right? Good research gets you in early, right? I am not always right. The expectation in crypto for accuracy is 80 to 90%, which is very, very high. In legacy, they think you're a genius if you're right 60% of the time, right? Big winners and small losers. In crypto, you got to call it right day by day, hour by hour. So sometimes I can do that. Sometimes I can't. But these big themes I got right this year. And now, of course, it's on the front page of the newspaper because, you know, big players are picking up on the news, right? You know, countries in other parts of the world to discuss 36 crypto licenses, right? Last year, the headline was regulators attacking crypto. In 2024, it's going to be about people getting access to crypto. Okay, the unbanked need it. SHIB surges as their layer one transactions hit a certain level. There are going to be more than one highway in crypto to access, you know, the future of technology, because everyone's like, oh, altcoins are pumping. Yes, they are. But what's really happening is people are trying to find all the new versions of technology, right? You know, if New York City was Web3, it really used to be that the only way into Web3 was Ethereum. There was one highway and one bridge. Now, like in New York City, there's going to be a George Washington bridge, right? There's going to be a Lincoln Tunnel. There's going to be a Holland Tunnel, okay? There are going to be other bridges, right? So when Solana took off, that's when cross-chain trading took off because everybody wanted to go from Bitcoin to ETH to Solana back and forth on one platform. SHIB is actually telling you this. So this is going to be epic in terms of, like, you know, you're going to have to dive in the layer ones, right, to try to find the hot altcoins. Now, naturally, that makes those altcoins difficult to buy, which at the start of a cycle, just like in 2020, it was actually hard to find and buy something. And as Oh Hey Maddie said back in 2020, the harder something is to buy, the harder it goes up. Because the guys, you know, you want to talk about being early, guys get in and be early. And then when it's more liquid or easier to buy, you know, that's when being in early pays off, because that's when the pump happens. So the harder it is to find, you know, there's an incentive to like dig. I saw something on Twitter, which was really funny, about a guy who like moved into his parents' bedroom, right? Took his grocery bill down to nothing, quit his gym membership, bought some dumbbells, and saying, I'm going to sit in here and study crypto, you know, and study crypto. And now, unlike in 2020, where it was like kind of just the ETH universe that you had to study, now there's so many layer ones that have like functioning real altcoins. Like Bitcoin's got it, right? You know, Thor Wallet's got a desk attached to Rune. You know, there's tons of altcoins. Like the smartest guys I know, literally, smartest guys I know are like, wow, man, you know, I went to Thor Wallet and they got a DEX. I can't even begin to understand what these guys, what these coins are about, right? Now, you're going to all figure that out. And then like, you know, 6-12 months from now, you know, this thing that I was early on, right? The future of money. Crypto is the future of money. And it's the future of tech at the same time, which is why it is still wildly undervalued, right? That's why altcoin dips maybe 3, 4, 5 days, right? And only because Bitcoin's going up. But you're going to have to study all of this stuff, right? Bitcoin bulls charge predicts these big peaks, you know, Ether in 2025. You know, everybody's got something to say now, right? Warren Buffett says rat poison Bitcoin, but now it's bigger than Berkshire Hathaway. Great Great headline. Does not reflect the actual value of Bitcoin or what Bitcoin is supposed to be. It's just reporters grabbing for a headline. You know, CEOs predict Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, you're predicting it, but do you own it? This is a concept from legacy that I've learned. Everyone is bullish, but does everyone own it? The answer is no. Let me just explain that to you right now. No. All these people who are like, oh, I'm massively bullish. Yeah, are you long? Investment banks? Are your clients long? No. Which is why they're going to go after the crypto equities. We'll go into that. Okay. Bloomberg. What did I want off Bloomberg? Okay. Probably something like Moody's cuts China credit rating to negative on rising debt. Note the second biggest headline over here, right? Bitcoin surges. Okay, let's welcome who's here and see who's going on in the comments. By the way, don't forget, hit the like button, get the stream moving, get over to Patreon. Just as a reminder, the market update's been free for a very long time. And, you know, the reason it's going behind the Patreon, it's not because I want to like stick it to anybody. It's kind of out of necessity, honestly, right? So, you know, if you appreciate my work, come on into Patreon, because I'm going to give you $150 a month in value for $15 a month. Okay, Daniel J gets it, right? Bullish on Parade talking about 49K. Okay. Rugby Performance Lab giving me some love on Patreon, right? Live It 351 is here. Double B, Steve J in the house. Daniel J. Playoffs, baby. Playoffs. Who knew, right? Everyone's like, oh, down on Texas football. We'll never win again. Boom. Conference champs. It's a bull run. Hodlers beat traders. That's true, right? Hodlers are doing better than traders because traders can't get, you know, they can't get ranges and they can't get deep enough dips to support on things like moving averages. So spot players, FOMO, dips happen. Now, you know, traders may be able to go back and forth on some of the big altcoins. You know, spot hodlers are definitely winning in Bitcoin. And at this stage of the cycle, you know, that's what you get. Okay. Global mass debt situation is in effect. It's print or default, long crypto. Okay. Units of anti-debt not issued or owed back to a central bank. All right. Double B is into dog. Okay. The Solana meme coin is just ballistic because you got to be on Solana to get there. Pancakes and peanut butter in the house. Welcome. Right. Farmer Sam Forrest is here. David, right? Montreal is in the house. Welcome. Okay. A1, good to see you. Woolameter from East Tennessee. Okay, people. Market update, PowerPoint. Let's go. Charts you need to see, which, not to overdo it, but, you know, Patreon got this before you did. Right. And that is going to be a permanent situation. So get on in there. Okay. Now, just a reminder that when Bitcoin goes up and up and up and people get super bullish, just like in 2017, there will be things that create corrections that will turn everybody bullish back to bearish. This is very typical. It happened in 2010 and 2011 in stocks. Who made money in those circumstances? People with very high conviction. So everyone was like, oh, European countries are going out of business. Oh my God, equity's down 25%, charts broke. These guys, they didn't care. They just bought the dip. Now, here's an example of something that could create an epic dip in Bitcoin, okay, or crypto. Crypto needs electricity to run its network, and something could happen with a grid outage in America because of a geopolitical situation. You know, so I'm not saying there are not risks out there, but there are things that can create deep dips, and we will see that in the future. So when everyone was talking about a range, I was talking about a trend. Now it is a trend, but there will be things that create ranges or sharp dips eventually, possibly end of year. Okay. So there are still risks out there. Right now, no one's talking about risks, which is why I'm talking about risks. But 47K may be first. Okay. NASDAQ 100, the Magnificent Seven, right? Your Apples, your Googles, your Microsofts, your Nvidias. Parabolic new high. Gee, who was buying here? That would be retail. On TikTok, I could say the word Nvidia, put Nvidia in the title, and the video could go like this: Nvidia, and then read out of a manual on how to be a plumber or how to fix a roof. 4,000 views. All I had to do was say Nvidia. Okay, I said Bitcoin, 300 views. I said Nvidia, 3,000 views. What's that tell you? All this gap and green stuff in NASDAQ is all retail. All retail, right? Sucked in. Or possibly even hedge funds who got caught short on geopolitical news, right? Either way, I think these are weak hands. And people may sell the winners and buy the losers at the end of the year, which is typical. People rearrange their portfolios. This is a nice way of saying Bitcoin or the Magnificent Seven. It's not even a contest. And I've been saying this. Or crypto equities or the Magnificent Seven. Definitely not a contest. Not even close. This stuff out. Not investment advice. Okay. Bitcoin weekly. Okay. This is a new chart. I did find resistance at 42K, with fib speed resistance lines, right? Like you broke out here, you broke the line, you smoked higher. Okay. The thing about Bitcoin that people don't realize is that even though this is a stopping point, I think the real stopping point could be up here, because that's where the Celsius FTX down trade started from. I mean, are we saying that Chainlink Chainlink was the first coin to unwind that whole debacle? So we're saying Chainlink can do it, but Bitcoin can't. So yes, 42K is a stopping point, but ask yourself this question: what happens if Bitcoin takes out 42K? I think you're at 47 like that, possibly in one candle, and possibly at the expense of altcoins. Speaking of altcoins, here's total 3. Okay. Patreon people got this before the stream this morning. Total 3, new high in price. Total 3, lower high in 13 period RSI, with the 13 period RSI rolling over. In crypto TA, they call it negative. So if you have price making new high and momentum indicators making lower highs, this could represent a correction in the big altcoins. Good. But not good if you FOMO'd in at the top, and they wash market cap out from 418 billion. And who knows? I mean, this bullish downward sloping wedge says it's going to 469. I mean, who knows what a washout can be created? Who knows? Neg div normally can create very sharp downward price action. So again, Bitcoin is this monster. That's how you have to think of it, right? All of a sudden, everybody goes, oh my God, Bitcoin is sucking all the capital out of crypto. Okay, again, charts given to Patreon, even to free guys, right? So there's premium, which I strongly recommend, obviously. And then there's people for free. They got the free guy. I even gave this to the free guys, right? This is technical analysis textbook, page 60. Total crypto market cap weekly, down only, rounding bottom. And then it's the bigger the space, the bigger the base, the higher in the space, right? Total crypto market cap in 2021, 2022, straight down, speed, magnitude, and direction. Talked to everybody in the premium group about this yesterday. Speed, magnitude, and direction. Straight down, base, straight up. What goes down a certain way can turn around and go up a certain way. So if you don't know anything about TA, and this is like the first thing you're hearing about crypto, and you're like, well, I don't know how to read a chart. Well, all you got to do is say, well, it went down a certain way and it could go back up the same way. Everybody says the markets take the elevator on the way down and the stairs on the way up. It takes, a slow prodding move to go up. And when it goes down, it goes straight down. Well, that's kind of true. But this is crypto, right? And, Bitcoin used to be this wild, crazy instrument. Now people think it's boomer coin. Do not underestimate what Bitcoin can do. So maybe 42K is resistance, but if it's not, Katie bar the door. Now, this is total 2. Total 2 is total crypto market cap without Ethereum. I'm sorry, without Bitcoin. So it is primarily driven by Ethereum. These diamond formations can be very bullish, okay? Especially if you have these hard breakouts above it, which, this is perfect. This is textbook, okay? So my conclusion on this is that they may rally Bitcoin, alts may come off, and then after they've ramped Bitcoin to 47, you may see ETH catch up right at the end of the year. Maybe, right? If ETH's ever going to go up, it's going to go up when everybody gives up on it, right? That may be at the end of the year. Well, so much for that. So if ETH took off, total 2 would take off. And this diamond suggests that, ETH's got one move in it. Now, diamonds, speed, magnitude, and direction. Oh my God, MicroStrategy. And I have been MicroStrategy for how long, right? This is ridiculously bullish. You have a diamond bottom, which is ridiculously powerful on a macro level, like as in long term, the quality of the bottom. You break out of the diamond, then you retest the apex. Okay, the retest went to the apex. So diamond bottom, giga bullish. A little bit of nuanced triangle theory. If you have a triangle or a diagonal formation and you actually kind of break out or do a retest at the apex of that triangle, like right here, that's giga bullish. So this thing in MicroStrategy, obviously you can see it launch itself, is double giga bullish. And to complete the triple crown, you took out the April high. Okay, you're probably going to correct today, okay, December 5th, but look at this air pocket. That's what I call it. You can say speed, magnitude, and direction. This thing went straight down from late 2021 because Michael Saylor was an idiot. It went straight down. So if it went straight down, it can go straight back up again. You could be sitting here with Bitcoin at 42 or 47, and every equities dude in the world who is bullish but not long, let me say that again, they are bullish but they are not long, because you can tell by how this thing trades. This thing should be at 750 or 850. And if you don't think it can go there, well, okay. But if you got a stock account, mutual funds are like, whoa, we got to get exposed to this sector. This is a no-brainer. If we got to buy something that's down or not up a lot, everyone's like, oh, MicroStrategy's way up. Not in equities terms, right? They're going to be like, wow, we got to buy something that's down, right? Like if you look at Nvidia, that's up, right? Up, right? This looks up to crypto, but not to stock people. Stock people are like, oh, it just bottomed and it's done a little blip up. What happens if MicroStrategy is the Nvidia of 2024? Thought about that? Probably not. But people in equities are going to go, well, you know what? If Bitcoin's going to, 100K beyond, moon and beyond, we better be long this stuff. Because any stock portfolio manager that's got a ton of crypto equities, like Kathy Wood, they're going to outperform. Or they're afraid they're going to outperform, which is even more powerful. Why do you think crypto went up like it did in December, right? Because crypto hedge funds are like, oh my God, we're a crypto hedge fund. If we're not on top of this rally, who's going to invest in us? That's why you had panic buying. And then what happens is when the panic buying ends and retail gets long, that's why you get flushes. You know, forced buying creates violent price action on the way up. And then when the forced buying ends, it goes normal in bull markets. So the other thing about bull markets is don't think that they're not hard. They are hard. No one wants to buy MicroStrategy up here. It was gapped up yesterday on Bitcoin up 6%, and they sold the stock. It gapped up, but they just said, "Oh, let's take profits." No, dude, you're in an air pocket above resistance. Okay, gold. Just a brief interruption. Okay, Bitcoin did well. Gold got smashed. Commodities got smashed. Okay, well, like I said, this is an example of what can happen when you get consensus bullish and then it comes off hard, right? If gold holds 2042, it can still go to 2200. For crypto people, it's an example. Everybody up, and then it has a violent retest of what was resistance. This was in dollar terms, not in percentage terms. In dollar terms, that was one of the six biggest down move in gold. This is what it's going to be like. Everybody in, everybody out. Everyone goes, "Oh, I don't want it anymore." And then it goes up again. That's how bull markets work. Now, Bitcoin weekly, again, DeMark work, right? Explain this in detail on the private live stream yesterday, right? You go up, there's a dip, perfect textbook DeMark work, right? First part of the trend, 1 through 9, you get a dip. Everyone thinks there's going to be a bigger dip. And then the trend starts. You have 13 up weeks in Bitcoin. I'm sorry, 9 up weeks in Bitcoin based on this DeMark work, which I explained in detail yesterday. Okay, the March 2022 high, okay, is like 47, 48K. And I remember over here, right, back in March where everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is bullish. You know, 2 big up weeks, 55K, retested the highs, here we come." And I'm like, get out. I'm reading the prayer of the sheepdog on the air. Get out, get out, get out, get out. It goes down. Now everyone up here, okay, now everyone is bullish. But are they looking for 47K in December? Maybe not. Maybe that's too lofty, right? Because of the media headlines. But again, you know, they're bullish, but are they long? Like, who's going to go and say, "Oh yeah, Bitcoin dips to 41K, I'm buying it," because it's going to go to 47 and hurt altcoins? Who's saying that? Nobody except me. Okay. UUP, the dollar index on a monthly chart. DeMark 13 tops. It's a quantitative system. DeMark's been around since the 80s. Okay. UUP is the dollar index as represented as an ETF in the stock market. On a monthly chart, UUP, the dollar index, has topped. That I mentioned, it's topped. This is dollar lower massively. So this whole parabolic, "Oh my God, the Fed's tightening forever. Oh my God, I have to buy the dollar because of, you know, World War III. That's went on here." This is going to get unwound brutally. Social disorder, debt problem, you know, foreign exchange in legacy. They can trade on economics, interest rates, politics. People can just go, our financial system, long crypto, short the banks, including the central banks. Okay. Fed's got operating losses out the wazoo because of what happened in the bond market. And they actually had to start laying people off. Imagine getting laid off from the Fed, you know, at Wall Street. Like if you had a job at the Fed, it was like this ultimate status thing. Seriously. Some of those people got laid off from the Fed. Now I'm sure they'll find other jobs being from the Fed, but still, right? Layoffs at the Fed. What does that mean for the dollar? What does that mean for Bitcoin? Epically. Galaxy Digital, as promised. What's Galaxy Digital? Well, it's a hedge fund. It's a crypto hedge fund. What does a crypto hedge fund do? Well, it helps people buy and sell who are big like BlackRock. They have an internal trading unit. They invest in, small altcoins. They have venture capital units. Okay. What do you think? And it's run by Mike Novogratz, who made a crypto hedge fund back in the day when making a crypto hedge fund was a joke. This is now like Goldman Sachs 2004 as in the crypto world. Like, this is the biggest of the big. Gee, no one wanted this stock all year long. Meanwhile, it's making a Jesse Livermore accumulation cone. Kind of almost textbook, right? Jesse Livermore, a famous trader from the early 20th century, right? Subject of a novel called Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, which I strongly recommend for anyone new in markets. This was from his trading journal, which became like the first TA textbook in a way. What does a parabolic market do when it's before it takes off? It makes one of these upward sloping cones, which it made an upward sloping cones, and Galaxy is like, boom. Did I mention boom? Do you realize that Galaxy back in May has a gap at 13 and nobody wanted this stock at 7.5? I mean, seriously, in October, the stock was at 5. And you can't even draw on a chart where Galaxy was at the 2021 high, which brings me to another point, right, that we're going to be discussing actively in Patreon, right? What levels are you going to be looking at? Well, we already talked about the 2022 high, but you're going to be measuring altcoins against other things, which again is for premium members. But look at this chart. I mean, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Boom. Oh, wait, it's overbought. I can't buy it. I mean, what do you think people in these legacy stock investors are going to look at this and go, oh my God, this thing just came above resistance, like MicroStrategy. It's just getting above resistance. And my old boss at Goldman used to say, buy breakouts, right? People in equities like to do value investing, but what they really love is to buy high and sell higher. He used to say, buy breakouts. So this is a breakout to me. Looks like a breakout to me. Look at the leg here in Livermore. You can't really see it, but you go from the 8 and then you have the 9, which is like there's another parabolic run up in Galaxy. You could have crypto sitting still and this thing just completely catching up. Coinbase, okay, again, just got to its May 2022 high. Hidden Pivot Analysis has a target of 152, but there's still a huge air pocket over here all the way up to 200. I mean, everybody's given up on this. I mean, what the heck do you think is going to happen at the holidays with everyone sitting around the dinner table? All there has to be is one family member or one person at the party looking at everybody going, oh, you're not long Bitcoin? What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, people have Coinbase accounts. There are a lot of Coinbase accounts that people are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to press the buy button. Okay, Robinhood. Now, you can't really see this, but this fib extension thing, I drew off a high uptick in 2021. Now, look at the thing close in. You break a trend line. It's at $9. And where's the next fib speed resistance line? 15. This thing could move like Galaxy. And Kathy Wood is getting out of Coinbase and getting into this probably for this reason, because the upside in Robinhood is epic. I mean, there's a gap here. I didn't mark it at 12. I mean, these percentage gains, I mean, it's not like, altcoins on Solana or BRC20 tokens that are doing 3Xs. But, if you're in equities, a move from 9 to 15, that's epic. You're certainly not getting that in a lot of places in equities. And the days of getting that in the Magnificent 7 are temporarily over. Bitcoin monthly chart, DeMark Analysis explained yesterday in a private live stream. Okay. Trend start, DeMark work, 1, 2, 3, back in 2000. 4 months later, it's straight up. Now it's 1, 2, 3. I mean, you realize how young this uptrend is? Like, oh, I can't buy it now. Okay, how about like 9 more up months, followed by a massive dip, followed by 13 more up months? That's what this monthly chart is implying. You know, Bitcoin, like you look at this chart, this dotted line is automatically drawn by the system. I mean, the system here is basically telling you if you're above 47, you're at 60. So if you think it's hard to buy Bitcoin at 42, can you imagine people staring at 60? Like they're gonna be like, well, I definitely can't buy it here. And that's when it explodes. Is that going to happen now? And I don't know. I think it's more like 47 first, or some sort of God candle, or, you know, maybe they've done what they had to do. 47 to me is still possible. You're going to have to get used to the idea that, yeah, oh, gee, I missed Bitcoin at 25K. Who cares? Right? I mean, if you missed it down here at 5K and Bitcoin was at 10K, this is back in 2020. What'd you say? Oh, gee, I missed it. Oh, gee, I can't buy it. Yeah, Michael Saylor down here at 10K, that's when he started. He missed 5K too, but at 10K, he was like, forget it. I'm buying everything. I don't care. So, you know, when you think it's cheap, or I'm sorry, when you think it's too expensive, be careful. It's not. Again, back to El Salvador's average price. ETH monthly, just getting started, right? ETH back here, when you had the beginning of the DeMark trend, 1, 2, right? The beginning of the DeMark trend, 1, 2. You know, ETH went sideways and then it went straight up. You know, ETH is probably not going to be where it's at for this cycle. But again, you know, Arthur Hayes says you could have a lot of AI running on ETH. Another theme that is completely not talked about. Like people are talking about Track, which I believe is AI and crypto. Crypto and AI, not discussed. Not discussed. Everyone's like, oh, ETH is underperforming. Yeah, it's underperforming. That's because these other layer ones don't have the kind of fees. But nobody's going to care about the fees if you start getting AI-related coins running on ETH. Is that going to happen now? I don't know. Maybe that happens later. Or maybe the big players are like, well, I missed Bitcoin, so let's grab Ethereum. And this is how big players work. You know, they don't differentiate. They don't say, well, which BRC, ERC20 tokens. They're like, there's just, I got to buy the sector. What's not mooned? What's not up an absurd amount? They may look at ETH after 42 or 47K Bitcoin, and they're just like, well, buy something so we don't look like imbeciles. You know, big players are people too, right? They got a FOMO. They got to own it. So don't doubt if it's like total 3 altcoins, maybe sideways or in a range. Bitcoin going to 47K. And then when everyone's sleeping at the end of the year, ETH goes boom. Okay. ETHE. Okay. The ETH version of GBTC in equities. Again, okay, there's resistance at a gap near 20, but it's just breaking out above a fib speed resistance line. Now, yeah, ETHE is going to correct today, but like Robinhood, where's the next level, right? This is at 18. The next level is at 26. So if it doesn't fail horribly here, if it comes back and retests this line, holds over a period of like 2 days, when the equity market people go looking for stuff, and we're like, oh, look, this is the ETH version of GBTC. Oh, look, this hasn't done a darn thing. This thing was at 48 at the end of 2021. Oh, let's get busy. This thing could double in price. We can't miss that. ETH monthly. I'm sorry, ETH daily, a little bonus analysis for you. You got a dotted line. ETH goes up, breaks out, comes back, retests it. By the way, you know, triangles, diamonds, you know, having a ceiling become a floor, breakout, retest. Noticing that simple TA is working. Very common at the start of a cycle. Do you need to be some sort of technical analysis genius? Yeah, the DeMark work is cool, but breakout, retest. Breakout, retest. Retest holds, boom, higher. Support and resistance. Now, this is fancy support and resistance, but do you really need to be a genius to be involved in this? No. Bitcoin on a daily chart, okay, headed for a 9 top, right? Normally after you get a 9 top, you get a correction. Again, explained more detail on a video in a Patreon yesterday, their market update. So after you get a 9 top, sometimes you get a correction. That correction could be today. That correction could be 2 days from now. The bottom line is when you get a 9 top, if it doesn't create a if it doesn't look like, okay, that's it. If it creates a dip and people buy it, then you could be looking at 13 more up days. Or you could be looking at just like a grind higher. But you got to be wary of 47K, because one of the most painful things that can happen is that Bitcoin could just kind of grind up to 47. Then maybe come off, as people take profits at the end of the year in favor of ETH. Do not doubt what this thing can do. Do not doubt how much it can go up on a spike. Do not underestimate how it could go up painfully with altcoins ranging and possibly bleeding. Do not underestimate the big boy, and that is the market update. So Illuminatics is here. Daniel J says, ETH is still really low. All right. Dubsky saying, yeah, Robinhood should list Solana again soon, right? Okay. Can you chart Bonk? Yes, I will in Patreon. All right. Render, Novo. All right. Let me see if I can get Bonk. I'll do Bonk as a one-off. Altcoin Overtime is in Patreon. Okay. Render, just to state the obvious, Render's down 5% today. That's an AI play. Actually, what I'll do is, right, I got to share screen. Okay. I got to see if okay, here's Bonk. Okay, so meme coin mania. Okay, the other thing that I would not doubt is that meme coins could take off if other altcoins range trade. I actually have a meme coin that I'm looking at inside Patreon, 14 million market cap, very risky, very outside the box. Very outside the box, but at 14 million market cap, I can hardly resist it. Okay, so 62967 in Bonk is a point that they've broken out from, and the ultimate high might be 91,032. So, again, this is the Solana meme coin. If this means anything, it's a wake-up call of what can happen on Solana. So, again, the FOMO is in Bonk, but the real trading may be elsewhere. Now, of course, this is like parabolic, insane, crazy. Probably don't want to get in front of it, but if this thing gets to a price target, you could have a deep correction, right? This would not be my first choice, even though it's, obviously mooning. This is telling you to look into the Solana ecosystem. And it's also probably telling you something that I think for 2024, which is that, you could have more than $1 billion meme coin. Memes, themes, anything that can act as money, these things you got to think about. All right. Okay. I know we got loyal readers into Render. Okay. So let me pop up Render. Okay. Now, one thing about this is, Render on a daily chart. Okay. So Render never really got to its high. It's coming off, retesting support at 338. Probably the ultimate objective in Render is 460. Again, anything related to AI in crypto is massively undervalued. But I will be discussing that in Patreon. Okay, in Patreon. Bavid says near is pumping. Yes. Yes. Somebody might be asking you 10 years from now, your kid might asking you, you know, Dad, what were you doing when NIR was below $1 or below $2? Did you buy it? You know, if you say yes, your kid will be like, oh, legend. If you don't buy it, your kid's going to be looking at you like, dude, it was trading at $1. It's trading below $1. Now, NIR didn't go up because people didn't build on it, but NIR is incredibly sophisticated. Every problem that ETH has was solved by NIR. So I'm just saying this idea, okay, this is the conclusion. Crypto, the future of money, undervalued. Altcoins, the future of tech, okay? Watch for volatility. They're probably going to buy every dip. They're probably going to buy the first dip. Just be careful of what happens if Bitcoin goes to 47. You know, people are going to learn to buy dips because they didn't buy the last one. So they may buy this dip, and who knows if that's going to work or not. But, you know, don't get bearish. Don't get bearish. You know, trade the range. Don't underestimate Bitcoin. Patreon. It's a necessity for me, and it creates value for you. That's the market update live stream. I will see you next time.